Hello everyone, my name is Katie and oh boy am I glad to finally get this video done. You know why? It's because this picture, along with the animation and video itself, took over a year to finish. Let me explain. Okay, so first of all, this is Byleth from Fire Emblem Three Houses. She's the professor protagonist ready for a tactical battle. And I love this game and all the characters, but I still need to finish it. Right now, I am towards the end of the Blue Lions route, and then after that, I'm gonna play the Golden Deers route, and then finally the Black Eagles. Granted, I haven't touched this game in a few months, but I've been playing a lot of Genshin Impact and Hades lately, but I'm sure I'll finish this game eventually. Back to the drawing. Going into this, I wanted to make a cool, semi-realistic illustration of Byleth and animate her movements. I wanted to have lots of movements and also make sure I had previous, smaller animation practice beforehand. If you've seen the video of my character Ava sitting in a field with some small animation, that was one of my practice smaller pieces I made to prep for this. So I knew this picture would take a while to finish with all the animation and details, but I didn't think it would take this long. Let me give you a timeline. I started this picture in December of 2019. I finished the illustration in April of 2020, and then I finished the animation at the beginning of January in 2021. And finally, today, in September of 2021, I am finishing the video and calling it done. You may be wondering, why did it take so long? Just why? Why did I put months and months of time and dedication into this one single piece? Did I want to make this my magnum opus? No, I didn't. In reality, what happened was that I would work on it for a few days or a week, and then put it to the side to work on other, more fun and newer pieces. Sometimes I would just get frustrated with this, that it's not turning out the way I want, so I would simply put it away for later, and after I've done more post-studies and practices or other things, I'd come back to it. And then once the illustration was finally finished, the same thing kind of happened when I wanted to animate it. I'd work on it for a bit, then put it away, work on it for a bit, and then put it away for a few more months. And as well as the fact of that I do the same thing for making the video itself, seeing how there was a couple months in between finishing the animation and making this video. So now the real question comes along. Would it have been better to abandon this piece and move on? Or is it good that I stuck to it and got it done? If this is a question you're asking yourself on a current project you're working on, then I think there are a few questions you need to ask yourself before deciding on an answer. First of all, is this project pushing you to work harder at something, or is improving your skills in any way? For me, I rarely polished my character illustrations this tightly in the past, and I wanted to get better at animating as well in After Effects, so that's a yes for me. The next question is, are you enjoying the process? Now, we're not going to enjoy every little bit of this. There are many times at the beginning where I was figuring out Byleth's pose and the expression because I couldn't get it right. But I think if you are enjoying most of the process, or at the very least excited to see the final result, then that's a good reason to go forward. Another question would be, how big is this project and is it attainable to finish? There are many times where we have this big dream project in our head and want to make it work immediately, like right now, and get it done on it. But before jumping into like a year-long project, make sure you've got some smaller projects done first. I'm not saying to abandon your dreams because it's too big. On the contrary, I'm saying to start small so that when it's time to work on your bigger projects, you're more skilled and stronger, and now you have a good idea of what to expect. Going back to this illustration, since it's just one picture and has some animated movements, I can easily say that it's not a big project. Maybe the reason why I kept stalling on this was because I got frustrated or lazy or even distracted at times. But looking back at all the answers to these questions, I needed to finish this to improve my skills, and in the end, I'm glad it's done. If you have a project and it's not benefiting you in any way or causing excitement or joy in your life, then maybe it's okay to let it go. Letting something go may lead you to have more time to work on a project that leads you to a career skill that you want to have. If this is the case, try not to think about it like you're failing because you're leaving this project. No, that's not good. Think about it like you're smart enough and strong enough to realize that this isn't leading you in a direction where you want to go, and now you're reevaluating your time and investing it into areas that are more beneficial for your life. To be honest, I think that's something to get more excited about. Like out with the old and in with the new. Either way, work on projects you love, and even if it gets hard and arduous at times, remember the goal and the reason why you're sticking to it. Okay, I think that's all I wanted to talk about for the reasoning behind this picture, so let's move on to talking about the details and the decisions I made while drawing this. First of all, you've probably noticed the speed of this time lapse is kind of fast and skips over parts from time to time. That's because I had 14 hours worth of footage of me drawing, so I really had to edit it down. I think this is one of the longest pieces I've made in a while that's over 10 hours long, because most of the illustrations I make nowadays just take about 5 hours. I think the reason it took this long is because there were many places where I was experimenting or redrawing areas over and over until I was satisfied. I didn't have any due dates for this, it was just something I kept working on in my free time, which resulted in it taking a while. I had envisioned Violet holding out her weapon in like a confident and strong pose, kind of like she's ready for like an epic battle or something. At the beginning, I thought it would be pretty cool to have like a bit of a bird's eye view, like she was looking down on her opponent, but her face kept looking kind of creepy and kind of scary at the beginning. Kind of like she was like a villain and not really a cool heroic pose at all. So later I ended up redrawing the face in order to have her head kind of point down and look more confident. It also took some time to draw out all the details in her clothes, because there are so many pieces to her armor and designs which I'd never drawn before this picture. There's also a lot of details that ended up getting drawn over, kind of like the dagger. But that's fine, it happens. There's also the fact that since I wanted to animate this, all the different parts that were going to be animated needed to be on their own layers. When I usually draw characters, I only use a few layers for the line art and colors, and then at the end maybe I'll flatten it down to just one layer to work on. So I needed to make sure like the hand was on a separate layer from the arm, which was on a separate layer from the body. This is another reason why it took so long to finish, since it takes more time to process all the layers than my usual process. I remember while making this, I ended up making a few color comps to get the lighting and colors right. A few of them looked more warmer and some looked cooler, but in the end I decided to go with a green background since that was a place in the game and it seemed more relevant. Since the character took forever to finish, I went easy on the background, pretty much just copying the reference I had and extended it out. I don't plan on doing anything with this picture, but in the future when I make more larger illustrations, I want to put more effort into the background and its details. I don't have any footage of me animating this in After Effects, mainly because I wasn't sure if my computer could handle After Effects and OBS at the same time. There were many times where it crashed and I had to redo parts, so recording this process would have made it difficult to finish. I do remember at the beginning of animating it, I'd gotten a few hours into it and ended up hating how she was moving. So I decided just to reanimate her from scratch again. I remember I ended up doing this a few times until I was satisfied with the end result. Every time I started over, I ended up taking less and less time and it became easier for me to animate her, so I consider all the time spent animating and reanimating all good practice. Okay, time for the final thoughts. In the end, I'm glad I finished this, but I do wish it was sooner. That being said, I now have more experience under my belt, so future projects that I want animated shouldn't be as difficult now because I have a place to start from. Although, if I knew it was going to take this long on a single piece, I kinda wish it wasn't fan art. I don't plan on putting this in my portfolio because I don't own the character, but the next time I want to do like a 14-hour piece, I'll make sure it's original work that I can use. Since it's been a year since I created this, I think it held up pretty well on its own in terms of how I drew it. if I were to work on it and touch it up now, I think I would end up redrawing her face and maybe one of her hands. I mean, it's not perfect, but it's done, which counts for more in my book. Since finishing this, I've gotten much better at animating, so I'm not completely satisfied with the result. But I have no plans of going back on this, so again, I'm just happy it's done. Either way, good picture. I'll finish the game eventually, and now I can't wait to work on new projects and finally and officially call this picture done. I'm gonna let the rest of the video play on, so if you wait to the end, you can see how the animated part turned out, so I hope you enjoy it. So, thank you all for listening. I hope you enjoyed this year-long journey with me on this single picture. Here's hoping my next illustration will be done sooner, so I will see you guys next time. Bye-bye!